sometimes it takes a minute to register, even when it says we're live on here. But yes, it is.
There's certain things about.
It's live. But yes, it is. Okay. Aurelie says Sherelle, says she hears us. What up, girl?
Lord.
But yes, it is. Not on. Had to go through a little bit. Aurelie says turn it down on your thing.
Yeah, I was just checking. All right, let's start this over again. Sorry, y'all. Woo!
I think it's that chord. I can only use that big chord, I think. Not praise the Lord. I was trying to use a different chord today, but that chord was like, no, thank you. Really, they ain't kept us last week. Then we had to miss yesterday. But that wasn't the devil. We had to go on a field trip with our babies. He didn't break nothing, Robinson. I promise. It was just the use of a different cord, trying to charge the computer and run the audio at the same time. Why do these keep falling off my head? Oh, no, they wasn't muting us, Jay. That was us.
That was the enemy. You know, when stuff stop working in the black church, they blame the devil. They ain't nothing but the devil. The mic's giving us feedback.
Hey, Misha.
You can shorten the intro.
It's volcano water. It's called Cocarni.
How many people on?
Coca-Carni 5. What's this? You want to know the name of your water?
I still don't know how to say it.
It's what kind of water? What kind of water?
Waiakea, Waiakea. I've only found like 2 waters that I really like, and this is on the list. It's really good. Waiakea. Apparently, it's Hawaiian volcanic water, whatever that means. I think it's just words they put on a bottle to charge more for it. But
Sherelle said, hurry up and start so we can talk about y'all new swing.
what y'all not gonna get us doing is cutting up on this here daggone live.
We bought a swing. We used it the end. That's it.
Oh my God.
Hey, LaKendria. Thank you for being on. Jay said he want an honest review. Yes. Buy it. Hey, Candace. Hey, Brittany. All right, we ready?
Mm-hmm. You gotta wait a second though. You gotta jam out. Let the song end naturally. What's up, y'all? What they never told us?
You know, none of this stuff that Russell gonna play on here is on Apple Music, so stop asking. He gonna have to just send you the file.
$1 fee.
And start running our own streaming service just on songs that Russell wrote. What up, Dope Killer? I ain't never seen your name in here. What up, Dope Killer?
That's a real gangster name.
It is. I don't know who it is. I can't see the icon from there.
Dope killer.
They said more love. How do I respond to you? He, she, they. What's the dope killer? If you're gonna comment, I need to know how to respond to you. When I get married, I'm gonna put one on my registry to see who if someone buy it. It ain't even that expensive. You can just buy it yourself. Stacey said, "Oh, that kind of swing."
Oh Lord. Oh, she missed it. She didn't know
Y'all
what
got the podcast, so y'all can have the radio station too. Period. No, it's not on Amazon. So we will talk about it. We'll give you all the specs in just a second.
Mm-hmm.
You ready, sir?
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I ain't. All right.
All right, Joe, we about to get started here.
If you're in the chat or if you're watching and you haven't said anything in the chat, drop your name so we can make sure we shout you out. We're getting ready to get started. So if you'd like us to shout you out to the whole community, let us know. But we're going to get started here. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Russell the Fourth.
Hey, everybody. It's me, Brandy.
And welcome to another live episode kickback of the What They Never Told Us podcast. What's going on? And as always, we got the whole gang in here.
Yeah, and they already cutting up in the comments. So if you hear me chuckling, it's because we had a little pregame talk before we got started. So the comments is going crazy right now. But in the building, we have Stacy, we have Mr. Robinson and Charisma over there on YouTube. Sherelle, Jay, LaKendria, Shanika, Candace, Brittany, Dope Killer. Is that all who I see right now? That's all who I see right now who said something. Candace said she liked this on Thursday.
I know that 14 came in quick. Maybe we need to switch it to Thursday.
Yeah, maybe we have a little bit more people readily available on Thursday. We up at 19 right now, so
that's what's up.
Let's see what we gonna do. All right, you ready?
I'm ready. So as always, we want to know who listened to the episode.
Actually, y'all got 2 episodes. So we did not go live last week because the house was under the plague. So we had to skip. I actually ended up taking our baby girl to the emergency room that night, but I'm happy to report that everybody is back on the mend except for me. I was good. Now I'm back. So bear with me tonight. But we did not discuss a lesson on love. And no, or did we? Did we discuss a lesson on love? We didn't do past versus my present. Yeah. And then we're doing this one.
What's this one?
I forgot what it was called. Y'all remind us. We just be on here talking.
Yeah.
And the names be jumping out of nowhere. Like, what we gonna call this? Okay, that's what we landed on.
Something about communication.
Oh, yeah, it all comes back to communication.
Okay, yeah.
Cheryl says, I just wanted to see Russ's face when you read it. Oh, when I read that comment. So
2 thumbs up.
Before we get into the episode, well, I guess we can talk about it. What episode did we talk about the swing on? Was that this one or the last one?
So y'all had Montezuma in your house
We
or whatever
did.
Brandy said.
Yes, I found out what it was called too.
What is it?
I forgot again.
Wow. Wow. You jacked the name up or whatever that is the entire episode.
Hold on, I'm gonna find it again. Go ahead and talk.
Mitsubishi. So yeah, it's been, man, it seems like this stuff should be happening during the fall or the winter, like when it's cold, but for it to be, the weather's starting to act right and we keep getting sick is just an extra layer of tragedy.
Okay, yes, it is. It's called Montezuma's Revenge, or AKA Traveler's Diarrhea. Nobody traveled that we know of, but we got it by way of, like, I don't know, it was like 3 times removed is how we got it.
How did you even come across that?
Montezuma's Revenge?
Yeah.
It's just something that I've heard of before.
Never heard of that in my life.
But it accurately describes what these children was over here going through.
Yeah, it was nasty.
It was real bad. It was a good time and to be in the Davis household.
Jay talking about something. I thought it was Maserati. I thought it was Mitsubishi.
Nah, it's the Montezuma.
Montezuma.
If you can't say that, just say Traveler's Diarrhea. Whatever it is, it was real bad. And man, I can't even describe to you the levels of cleanup we had to do. So.
Okay, yep. TMI. Yeah, it was no fun. But yeah, so we had the 2 episodes. And crazy enough, between the 2 episodes while we was down bad, We had some posts from the episode before that just went viral, and man, our Instagram and our TikTok following just kind of jumped up out of nowhere, something crazy. So a lot more members to the community, a lot more people who are tuning in. So
Yes.
God is good.
Welcome to everybody who's new to the platform and new to the kickback sessions. I did see a few names that I hadn't seen before. So what's going on, y'all?
And let us explain something, because this has been just ongoing confusion, okay? This is an episode where we discuss the previous episode. So it's like, you know, when The Walking Dead or certain shows go off and then they have like a show that's dedicated to talking about the episode. That's what this is. We're just talking about the episode. This is not its own separate. For the people who are watching this live right now, this is not what the podcast is. This is not just what we do. There's a whole other platform on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts where you can listen to the episode. This is just discussing the episode. We in season 4, and it's still a thing where people like, so y'all do something other than go live?
It's our fault, because then we started posting the live episodes and it just all kind of meshed together. But yeah, it's just a kickback where we kick you with the family.
Yeah.
So if you're here, welcome. So a couple people reminded me that the swing was in the last episode. A lot of people are messing up the name of Montezuma, Melanoma, and Mercedes. Both are very good and sound and probably feel better than what was going on here.
Melanoma.
Terica says, hey, y'all, I still be listening on my way to work. Well, welcome.
Hey,
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the past versus the present. Maybe we shouldn't skip, because I'm like, what was that episode even about? So if anybody has any questions from either episode, please fire them in the chat. It'll help jog our memory on what we talked about. We didn't go live yesterday because our 4th graders, we have 2 of them, they took an all-day field trip to Mackinac and Mackinac Island. So we had a great time up there and was wore out. We didn't get back till midnight last night. So that's why we couldn't go live.
Absolutely.
And to answer questions about the swang, it is from, I think, what is Candy? Bedroom Candy is what it's from. Blame Facebook, because they showed a reel on my timeline with the lady showing all the ways in which you could use the swing and the Play With Me straps. So we got the whole set. It's called like the Candy's Playground set or something like that is what we purchased. I give it a 5 stars, 5-star review. What do you give it? Russell gives it a thumbs up. He's scared to talk about it for whatever reason. But
our kids are down here.
One kid.
The one who actually understands what we're talking about. So I feel really awkward. So, but listen, highly recommend. Okay, really good.
If you're looking for a way to spice it up, it's a good way without jumping too far in the woods. It was nice. It was good.
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
And Jay just provided the link for the swing. So
What?
there you go. If you want to go buy it.
Hey, bro was quick with the Google search.
Oh, no. He's already been in my messenger. Like, is this the one y'all got?
Okay. All right.
Like, yeah, that's it. We got the whole set. Go
Oh,
ahead and
wow.
buy it.
All
It's
right.
good. Sherelle says this should be sponsored. I would love if it was. Shanika says Russ got me cracking up. I don't know why he's acting super weird. Like, the boy listened to the podcast, so he done
No,
heard.
he do not.
He actually does.
Ain't no way in the world.
He actually does.
I guarantee you he skips it. If that part comes, be like, yep, nope.
No. So Candace, Candace said I feel like I might break it. Absolutely not. I think it's impossible. I'm just gonna say that.
Well, I mean,
The girl that I saw in it, she gave her weight in the video. I think I don't want to get it wrong, 'cause I don't want to, but you won't break it. The girl who was using it in the video is way bigger than you are, and it's fine.
the swing won't break, but the door, depending on, not her. I just mean, like, if you got somebody watching who's like 500, you know, she might be like, yeah, I'm gonna try it at like 400, or like me, I wouldn't get in it.
Well, I don't think you're supposed to get in it.
But if there was a girl who was my size, I don't think she should get in it either.
Or just make sure you're in a hotel, so if you break the door, it don't matter.
There you go. Well,
you
the
don't break
hotel
it at
door
home.
be strong, but if you live in like one of them apartments they built real quick, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, if you got a paper door, then don't do it.
don't do
but-
that. Them are gonna crumble.
But I don't think it's from the weight. I think it just might be because it's like there are
It's a leverage
bars,
swing.
yeah, that hang over on the other side, and then you close the door. So as you pull, the bars are too big to come through the crack of the door or whatever. So it just, I mean, force might pull a door off the hinge, but I mean, you really got to be doing some work to do that.
Yeah.
And that just don't even sound fun. But it's supposed to make it easier, which I think it did.
It did. It was fun. I wish I'd give you more details. But
Sherelle says this takes me back to Russ and TSA. Anytime we have a conversation about this, he's already weird. But then put the fact that there's a teenager nearby, I think it just elevated it. So y'all ask the questions, I'll answer. I don't have a problem. Jay says
y'all challenging me. I'm about to listen. Look, y'all want to talk about it?
That's what they came for.
Because Brandy got all carried away. She turned to a gymnastics. She flipping back. I'm like, what are you? I'm trying to grab her. She swinging all over the place.
For the girls who have problems with their knees, me, ex-cheerleader here, my knees is bad. They crick and crack just walking down the street. So, you know, some of them other things that you be trying to do with your knees, just a lot
Brandy
of wear
thought
and
she was
tear.
Exchange Park again. She's talking about some what?
I had a time. You weren't complaining at all.
No, it was a good time. But
Jay says the girl was a BBW and was definitely testing it out. She put it on her bedroom door and the hotel door, period. Brittany says 140 for a solid corridor. Look, she done did the research.
like,
Look,
it's all good.
if you worried about the dough, just buy a new one.
140 get you going.
Clarence says, first time here, just found your podcast. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Y'all show some love.
It's a boy. It gets a little crazy on the live with our family, but you know,
Is that on
they're
YouTube?
on YouTube.
Oh,
yes.
okay. My bad.
But it's all good. We just let our hair down a little bit.
Jay, full blown Simone Biles, like Olympic. I was shocked, confused, and bewildered because I'm like, where'd all this come from?
Listen, I was out. It enabled me to explore my
she
flexibility.
got all geeked up, messed around, choked me. I said, what you doing?
If anybody asking, that was the thing from the episode where I was like, you said you would never do that, and then you let me do that. So
She got all out of pocket. Got all aggressive. I said, hold on, what you doing?
Jay says, holler at him in a DM. He got a good contractor on deck if anybody's worried about their doors. Sherelle said doors are made to be broken. I don't actually
nasty.
think so, but
Y'all nasty. I just realized that.
you know that already. Russ said you were shabaffled, Shalonda said.
Now, I don't even know what that is. What's shabaffle? But for some reason, that word definitely describes what I went through.
Just not if you want to win this game, you got to yell with all your might. That was one of our cheers back then, though. Just to get it started off, we did have a question that came via DM because I'm going to switch the subject really quick backly to what the topic at hand, what we're here to talk about.
That's
which
when
is
it was
the
going to take
episode.
us an hour into the
Yes,
pod.
we was gonna go down that lane, and once we down that lane, it's real
But
hard
no
to come
coming
back to
back.
talk about communication. So I'm gonna break it up. So the question says it's like a 4-part question. So I'm gonna read it in parts.
This just came in?
Today, yes. How does communication change with a co-parent? Do you still utilize the same communication techniques that you did when you were married or in a relationship with them? Do you still show them the same grace as you did when you were together? And if it did change, how did that experience change for you? Michael just came out the room and gave us the dirtiest look.
See, and I tried to be the responsible one, the kind one.
Oh, he got
Here y'all
$500
go.
headphones. He should have put them on and canceled out everything
And
we was talking about.
Here y'all go, geeking me up,
All
and
right.
now he's gonna grin me for the next.
He got $500 headphones.
Dang
Use
it.
them. Anyways, so I'm
He
gonna
looks so disappointed.
read the question again because you're not focused.
I'm sorry.
How does communication change with a co-parent? Do you still have the same communication techniques that you did when you were married or in a relationship? Do you still show them the same grace as you did when you were together? If it did change, how does the experience change for you?
Let me take this one
Okay.
because yours hasn't changed that much because y'all don't like each other. I'm just playing a little bit. So mine changed drastically, and in large part due to the fact that a lot of our communication and or boundaries were they were laced with a lot of other factors, right? Some guilt on my part, some I don't know, but there were a lot of things I had to adjust when getting into a relationship. So we had an episode. If you have not checked it out yet, but it was an episode called "Don't Give Me the Lion," but it was the one we had with Aaron Dale. Aaron Dale is a content creator who deals a lot with blended families from the UK. That's our boy, and he said something that made me think. We could have a whole episode about that alone. But he said, if you get into a relationship and the way you communicate or the way you interact with your child's parent has to change, then that means something was wrong to begin with. That means that there's something.
It probably shouldn't have been
Probably
that
shouldn't
way.
have been that way in the first place. So, for instance, just give you an example. Like for me, if I was dropping the kids off and I was getting them some lunch on the way, you know, I would let her know, like, hey, don't worry about it. I'll get the kids some lunch. If she was like, oh, okay, cool, where you going? Can you pick me up something? She'll say, I'll cash up you. I'll be like, okay, cool. To me, it's not a big deal. I'm already going there. You ain't ate. I'm dropping them off. Cool. But now when you're in a relationship, that kind of muddies the waters. You know what I mean? Like that might not be a dynamic that works well in a relationship. That might be a boundary that's being crossed. Early into our separation, if there was something wrong at her apartment or something, like one time there was a mouse there, a mouse got in her apartment, so I went and set traps and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Those are things clearly, if you're in a marriage or in a relationship, that's not gonna work. Like, okay, you tend into our home and hers, that's not gonna work. So for me, there's still, and I think we benefit from this greatly, there's still a lot of kindness and a lot of respect and in the co-parenting dynamic that we have with my children's mother. But there were some things that had to change in terms of boundaries and in terms of how we utilize a friendly nature. You know what I mean? Like, you can't call to confide in me. Like, you know, I can't be that for you anymore. You can't call if you're just frustrated about something, you know what I mean? Or so those were the things that had to kind of change. So that's how I experienced that.
Yeah, I think for me, not having like the really buddy dynamic with either of them, I think communication does have to change in a sense that now you have to kind of over communicate to make sure that there are no discrepancies. So with my middle son and my baby girl, they have the same dad. And so like things that if you were in the home or we were in a relationship together, you would just know because you're here. Like now I have to call and tell you those things. We have to be more open to sharing things that are happening with the kids when they're over each other's house, things like that. But for us, we really keep it, if it don't got nothing to do with the kids, then we not talking about it. So we're not calling each other to kiki about a television show or who you seen the other day or anything like that. Like all of our communication pertains to the well-being of our children. But I think in that respect, you have to be more intentional about like when you're getting frustrated with them because one breakdown in communication when you're not in a relationship with somebody can cause a whole issue because like we don't really have to get along. We don't have to deal with each other. So if we mad about one thing and it carries on to everything that we do and now the kids are seeing it, it's an issue. So you have to you got to swallow a little bit just to keep a happy face in a pretty situation for your kids. I will say that. That's what I experienced.
Here's what I need to know, and I want to ask you guys in the chat. You guys sound off and let me know. Is it okay to be friends with your child's co-parent? Wait, with your co-parent, right? And if there's no romantic interest, if you are in a trustworthy, healthy relationship with your spouse or with your partner, is it wrong to be friends with your child's parent?
So I actually watched this show. I was just watching it before I came down here. It's called Young, Famous, and African, and it's on Netflix. And if you like a little bit of drama, foreigners, I suggest you check it out. But there are two couples on here that experience the same thing. One couple, the guy and the girl are both dating other people, but anytime they get in the same space with each other, you can't tell whether they're together or not. And then they're saying that it's just because of the level of friendship that they've worked up to in their co-parenting relationship. Like they confide in each other. They're legitimate friends. There's nothing romantic happening, but they are legitimate friends. So sometimes it gets a little flirty. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like he's like getting her a drink or escorting her to a car. So to someone who doesn't understand their relationship, it looks a little sketchy. There's another couple. Well, he's not a couple. There are three more people. It's one guy and two girls. And both of the girls are his baby mama. And he wants to be back with one of them. But his relationship with the other one, because they are friends, because they're cool, they actually call each other best friends, it interferes with his relationship with the girl that he actually wants to be with, because it's unclear when they're being friendly or when they're being flirty. So I think that being friends with your baby mama or baby daddy is possible, but when you're in a new relationship, like you have to be super clear, because anything that even looks by the way with somebody that you've had a relationship with, you had kids with, like it can cause an insecurity and it can cause a little bit of drama.
So what if those things aren't a factor?
What do you mean?
The flirty,
Well, what does it look like for
well, you
like
spelled out
friends?
some specific things. So say for instance, when you call to exchange information pertaining to the child, drop-offs, hey, can you keep them extra day? I'm gonna be out of town or something. Say in that conversation, you laugh at something, you know, like, yo, like, oh my God, yo, you remember the episode of Martin when blah, 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 you laugh about that. Or say if they call him like, oh my God, man, tell me why I caught a flat tire today. I was so frustrated, blah, 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 blah. Like, those are things that you would do to a friend, right?
With a friend, yeah.
With a friend. And if there's nothing romantic, is that okay? You know what I mean? Like, of course, when you add in the negative factors, there's flirty, there's bad boundaries, of course, then that's when it goes bad. But I'm saying, if there's nothing negative happening, is it okay? Or is it just something to steer away from in general?
Jay, I'm going to come back to your comment. I see that, but I'm going to read some other ones before that. Sherelle says, I think intentional is a big part here. You have to start being intentional about setting boundaries with the person, and establishing the communication should be limited to the kids. Robinson says it's okay to be friends in some cases. DJ C Sharp says, as a child of divorced parents, it made my life easier that all of the adults in my life behave like adults. I don't know what type of friends they were, but they put all that aside for the kids. That's good, and that's very important. Ashley says, I think it's okay to be friends, but once in a new relationship, boundaries must be set, with a lot of exclamation points. Stacy says, yes, especially if y'all put years into one another or was once married. You've shared basically your whole life together and had a child. Just because we've moved on doesn't mean I lose my best friend, vice versa. Oh, it better mean that. Jake says, that was going to be my next question. How is this negative impact on a new relationship? And Charisma over on YouTube says, I will prefer to be friendly, but we don't need to be friends. Them lines will eventually get blurred. Another YouTube comment by DJ C Sharp says, as an adult talking to my parents, they've let me know they had to set boundaries, and those boundaries have shifted over the years. You want to read more or no? Sherelle?
I think boundaries need to be set up before a new relationship happens to alleviate hurt feelings / bitterness with one of the parents having to change because a new person is entering the picture. Jalen says it has to be some serious boundaries. They have to be exercised, especially if you were romantically and intimately involved. Those lines can be blurred quickly because this has been second nature and was a part of everyday life once upon a time. Yeah, I agree with all of that, and I think y'all spitting. The reason why I said this is an area, if we're being transparent, which we always are, and we've talked about this before, but this is an area that really put us in a chokehold through marriage counseling because we were trying to figure out what those boundaries were, right? And for me, from my vantage point, when I came out of my marriage, you go through that. Most people I know, I don't want to generalize, but most people have like this weird part where y'all not together, but y'all still messing around and y'all still, it never was that, from the moment we separated, there was no romantic involvement. And I really prided myself on building a positive dynamic, and that worried me. I was like, man, I've co-parented without a hitch for years. Now we're in this dynamic. We're trying to find new boundaries, but this works for me. This has worked for me well, and now the idea of rocking that doesn't just impact to me because it's not like I need to have a friendship, but it was something that I saw benefit in my children. They benefit from seeing a peaceful dynamic. They benefit from seeing me pick them up and being able to laugh with their mother. They don't feel tension or like feeling like they got to choose sides. That was something that I think they benefited from. So it was definitely something we had to navigate around. Now, I want to say this. This is usually where a lot of people fumble in general because you care about something and they care about something and you have a hard time being in the middle. Ultimately, and this is just real, when I asked this woman to marry me, when she said yes, and we're walking towards doing life together, now you have to have, and we talked about this on one of them episodes between the last two ones that we didn't go live on, but we talked about this idea of humility and being humble and kind of putting you and the concept of you on the back burner, right? So that means maybe the way you think on it, even though that works for you, it's not about you no more. It's not just about you no more. Maybe this is the way it's always functioned or you're comfortable with it. And maybe that's cool for you because you're comfortable. But maybe they're not. Yeah. And then you got to make an adjustment. So I had to kind of put, even though it worked for me, even though I didn't, and this is 100% transparency, I didn't completely understand it. Can we be real? Because when she's communicating to me like, yo, there's this dynamic I'm not comfortable with, I'm like, yo, what are you saying? Like, what's the issue? Like,
I was just going to talk.
In the middle of my talking or?
Go ahead.
No, I'm joking, but go ahead.
I was just going to say that kind of to piggyback on what you said about putting yourself in the other person's situation, because what we experienced was I was never saying that he was doing something wrong, right? But what happens is when you have a specific dynamic with your co-parent, and then you get into a relationship, the person that's coming into the situation, right, is being brought into a situation that they have no understanding of. So trying to understand a dynamic between someone that you were romantically involved in and you're still friendly, for me, especially in this situation, what I got from Russell was that they had really developed a friendship, but their relationship, their marriage lacked intimacy, lacked the romantic side. So for me, seeing them as friends outside of their relationship seemed much like they operated in their relationship. So to me, coming in, it looked like nothing was changing because he got in a relationship with somebody else. And that was the problem for me. I'm like, this is the relationship that y'all have had for at least the past 5 or 6, maybe 8 years, right? And you're saying me coming into the situation, nothing is going to change because I'm here. And I just felt like if that's the way that y'all have always been operating and y'all were operating like that in a marriage, then what's the difference? Like y'all carrying on y'all same relationship, y'all might as well just stay what y'all was doing. So it's just the understanding that when a new person is coming in, I think either taking the time to really break down what this means, why it's important to you, and what you're expecting from them from the situation. And then, as everybody has said in this, set some boundaries. Like, it don't have to be that y'all mean to each other. Y'all can still remain friendly and kiki and do all of that. But there is a certain limit where that stops, and we need to establish what that is. You got something to say, or you want me to read some comments?
No, I don't got nothing to say.
Okay. Candace says, my daughter's biological father was pretty much on vacation her entire life, and my husband pretty much fulfilled that role completely. So I never had to experience co-parenting. I mean, it was really the same with me, right? Like, my oldest son's father wasn't super involved in his life. And then when I got in my new relationship, like, we didn't have to co-parent with him. So then when I got with Russell, I really assumed that it would kind of be the same along those lines, and it wasn't. So I had to open myself up to what it looks like to co-parent with somebody else. And for us, it's been, I mean, essentially at the end of the day, our kids are what matters. How we treat each other has changed over time. And depending on the day, I'm going to be honest, however you feel like acting, it can go right back to where it was. So it's different. Our kids have always remained the focus, but how we deal with each other is very up and down. You want me?
Is that the last? That was the last comment.
That was the last comment.
Yeah. So, what was the next question they asked?
Jay had asked the question. He says there was a lot of things in the relationship that was said out of love because you were in love, right? Where's that grace and mercy kick? Where that grace and mercy kicked in. So does that change for you when the door is closed? Jay, you're gonna have to provide some additional information on that. Candace says, exactly. So yeah, I mean, the last episode is the one that's fresh in my mind. And we talked a lot about communication and a lot of the issues even that we just talked about right here with the co-parenting and boundaries and expectations and all of that. It took a lot of communication and a lot of being vulnerable with each other to work through that. Yeah. Go ahead.
Did he have more than one question?
No, not that I saw.
Oh, I thought when you said in DM, he had
no, I just ended up reading them all together because they kind of played on each other.
Oh, so it was all about the co-parenting?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My bad. I was waiting for the next one.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Robinson says, I usually see dads that try to be genuinely friendly and good to the mother of their children get tension in their relationship when their partner does not have a baby father that is genuinely friendly and positive to them, like really supportive and presents with the kids too and present with the kids too. Yeah, I think that was definitely a part of our situation. It was a new dynamic that I was not used to at all because that's not how I co-parented with my children's father. So seeing that on the other end, it was like, this don't really make sense to me. Why it's this level of friendly.
Yeah. And in my view, it was blowing me because I'm like, this is really like minimal friendly. Like we don't talk on the phone every day. It's not like keying. It was like if there was conversation that went outside of being about the kids, then it was like, that's where issues started arising. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm like, so is it cool to be friends or not? Because if it is, then what does that look like? Does that mean we just talk about the kids with a tone of friendliness, or is there room to just be kind? And that's what I was like, okay, I'm missing what the extra thing is. But I think hanging my hat on what I said already and what I continue to hang my hat on is like, ultimately, like when you're working through those things, you can't lose sight of what the objective is. And sometimes we get locked on wanting to be right or wanting to be understood. And the truth of the matter is, like, you're not always going to get that in a perfect world. Yeah, you will. You'll always feel like you're heard. You'll always feel like the person understands, and you'll always feel like, oh, you get it, cool. Mm-hmm. But it don't always work out like that. And ultimately, like, you have to be able to keep sight on like what you really want, and if you want to work through it, sometimes it's less about how you see it and more so about how can we see this thing and see it in a way that we both see it, we both appreciate it, we both can work with what we're looking at. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely. Sherelle says, what about the old spouse and the new spouse being friends? So we've talked about this a little bit before. Before I met Russell's kids, I was really adamant about meeting their mom. And I really just wanted to talk to her on a woman to woman level. Like, I didn't want to talk to her as his new girlfriend, even though that was the only reason that we were having a conversation. But I really wanted to come in and really understood what she was feeling, what she expected, and kind of set the stage for that. We did that, and I believe, now I can't speak for her, but I believe that set the foundation for the quote unquote relationship that we have now. Are we friends? Like, do we go out and hang out? No, but at any time I can call and text her and talk about the kids. We all are in the same space, like, a lot, because she's still very involved in Russell's family's activities. And we have kids who are in the same grade, in the same class. So any like classroom, school stuff, we're involved. And Russell and I are both very involved parents. So if you got an after school program, a musical or award ceremony or whatever it is, like, we're there. And we're not just there like I'm just going to the kids that came from me and he's going to the kids that came from him. Like, we all go to the same stuff. So we see her a lot, and there's no drama. We talk, hey, how you doing? Did she tell you this? Ha ha ha. Did you see that? So I think even at base level, it should be that.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I had to mourn the fact that it's just completely opposite on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wanted the conversation, and what's crazy is, we tell y'all all the time, like, for those of y'all who don't know us in real life, we live in a small town, and pretty much all the black people here you've at least seen once. When you see a new black person, it's like, it's a bunch of new black people. I feel like I ain't seen these ones. Where they coming from? But for the most part, we know each other, or we know of them. We know where they come from. We know their people. So I knew him. Went to school with him. If I saw him before, we were in a relationship, any time probably like, yo, what's up, man? What's up? Keep it pushing, whatever. But since then, it was like military silence. You know what I mean? It was like, he cool. I don't got to talk to him, whatever. So we've had maybe 2 conversations. The first one was hostile. The second one was peaceable. But I just had to mourn my idea of what this looks like. You know what I mean? Ultimately, and I really, man, if you have not listened to the Arendelle episode and you're co-parenting, you are fumbling, because there was so much stuff that, like, I still reference now, because we get so focused on the co-parent and wanting them to fit in our idea of what it should look like that we lose sight of what's really important. And if we both just focusing on the kids, you're doing your job. The goal is to take them from childhood to adulthood in the best way possible. And if both of y'all doing that, then cool, y'all don't got a key in the process. You know what I mean? So it really blessed me on changing my perspective and putting my proper focus in place. Like, what you looking at? What's important to you? The kids? Cool, great.
Jay said y'all pretty much covered it. I was saying that with the ex, you were in love. There were times where you had to swallow your pride and bite your tongue, and you spoke into them with love. So now you have to change the way you communicate with them. I was asking, how did you change for you? How did that change for you once you were no longer together? Robinson says, yeah, fighting to be right can make you lose focus on your actual marital goals. So true.
So true.
Yeah, so we both are headstrong people who like to be right often. So to say that we get that 100% right all the time it would be a lie. Like, we both, and I think Russell talked about it in the last episode, like a very recent instance where he was just like, you know what, it's not worth it. Like, I'm not about to fight. I'm not about to push. And I think we both have to just stop sometimes and be like, what's the purpose? What are we going to get out of this? Even if I do get him or her to see my side, then what? Like, is this consequential to our relationship? Because for us, when we're having those moments where we're butting heads and we want each other to see sides, it's never, I won't say never, but it's rarely about something that will actually affect our relationship. It's usually about God. How we see something, not even God, how we see something in the church, or how we walk out our Christianity.
Relationship stuff.
Or something we've seen on TV.
Yeah. Or just like ideas on something,
Yeah.
you know. But ultimately, like, what I've learned is like more than wanting to be right. I just want peace.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I value that more. And it just don't be worth it. It just don't be worth it. Now with consequential things, I've learned, especially when the stakes are high and I'm emotionally invested in it because it's something that matters to our life, I'm coming into them conversations differently
Mhm.
because I know we trying to defuse a bomb, and if I pull the wrong cord, we sleeping in chaos. We sleeping in tension, and I don't want that. So now I'm learning that we're learning to handle those situations with a little bit more care versus like, because me, how I when I get on a roller, when I got a point and I smell blood, I'm like, yeah. So what about this? So you saying, nah, 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 nah. And you could push so, at least for me, I could push so hard. Now something that was, and this is for the stuff that's not consequential. Now I'm gonna push so hard. Now you're offended
Mhm.
because I'm just, you know what I'm saying, handling my words without care. You know, utilizing my words without kindness. You know, and it's just not. And we both do that. It's just not a good balance at all.
Robinson says being right is dope though. Sometimes you gotta fight for it, but it just gotta be worth it. Like it has to be worth the fight. Like
It's never worth it for me. It's never what you got it. That's where I'm at now. You got it. Like I'll just stop talking, and I'd rather have that little 15 minutes of frustration from just being like, okay, versus keep because the last time that was the couch thing. Remember when Brandy almost slept on the couch? That was the last thing. Because I don't even remember what we was talking about. Something so stupid.
tattoo my name so I know it's real. That's
Oh,
what we were
yeah.
talking about.
We talking about a simple concept, and we're going so hard on it. Then now we sitting here about to sleep in separate spaces over something that don't mean nothing to us. Like, I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, those are more situations where I'm just like, it's just not worth it. Even if she's like, you know what? I see a point. I never thought of it like that. Okay. Like, what do you get from that? You know what I mean? Like, I just want peace, bro.
He
I just
still
want
like to
peace.
be right though.
I'm an ex. What do you call it when you're like when you recover from an addiction? An addict? Just
Yes.
the addict.
Mhm.
I'm a ex.
You're recovering.
I'm a recovering debate addict because I like to argue. I done had full blown heated discussions yelling at the top of my lungs over something stupid. Obama. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but tell me what he did for black people. Though. Name me a law. Name me a law. Like, been in barbershops, veins popping out my neck. Just, how you gonna tell me, LeBron? Tell me a time when LeBron.
You hurt my
ever,
ears.
like, just screaming over what? LeBron don't know you, bro. He can see you on the street, be like, nah, I don't want to sign autographs, bro. Keep pushing.
See, that's why you be telling me to ignore them people in the comments because you be just like them, just want to argue.
Yeah, no. See, I know me. I don't go in that comment section because I'm gonna be in there going back and forth all day. I don't even pay attention if I see something that's really up. I gotta just swipe delete.
Candace says, "I'm with you, Russ. You got it. I ain't about to fight or argue about it." Robinson said, "Brandy face when he said I won't fight." Yeah, it was a little screwed up because maybe this a newly
Old
acquired.
me would never apologize. I
He's
would
good at
never.
apologizing. Now
That's
that he
a
is.
new thing. Cause I'm just if I feel like I'm right, it's 2 weeks and I'm still walking around with an attitude because you're wrong.
He's good. He's very good at
I
apologizing.
was right. That's a new thing for me. That's like within this marriage. I've worked on that going into 2023. I'm learning that, but that's a new skill. Cause before, if I think I'm right, then you gonna have to come around and just realize it.
Candace said, eventually it comes out that I was right and I'm satisfied and I can give him the I told you so look. Okay, see, that's a little, I can't think of something that like, for us, it's more of we'll come to a compromise. If it's something on like, something we should do, we usually just argue about facts. Like things that are like, we're going to look it up and we going to find something to support each of our.
It's our view on things.
It is.
We just look at the world differently.
Very differently.
And when it comes to certain subjects, like for instance, the tattoo thing,
Mm-hmm.
I think so deep about stuff that it takes away from what we're actually talking about. Like, for instance, I don't agree that anyone should get someone else's name tattooed on them.
But you would not believe that from the episode.
But what my mind is thinking about is what is the root thought that causes that, right? Why are we more comfortable tattooing our children's names versus our spouse's names? And I'm trying to see, like, the only reason why one is acceptable and the other is not is because we have faith in one relationship and the other one we don't have faith in. We're more comfortable in a mother relationship than a wife relationship, or a husband relationship than a father relationship. Because them kids can cuss you out, curse your name, say, I renounce my thought. You are no longer my mother. I'm independent. I don't want nothing to do with you. And will still not regret it because that's still my child. But so I'm thinking deep. I still don't think you should get a tattoo of somebody's name, but I'm just trying to have a question. Like, do you see this thought about how one relationship you put more stock in, or one relationship you have more faith in versus the other one? And I'm like, yo, it shouldn't be like that. We should be able to, like, not about the tattoo, but we should be able to have the same faith in this relationship because it's the more consequential one. Them kids gonna go to college. They're gonna have their own kids. They're gonna call you on the holidays.
But we
if you
do.
gotta, huh?
We do have the same faith in this relationship. I just didn't want to get a tattoo.
But why?
It's not because I don't have faith in the relationship.
But that's what we got to talking about. It's like, well, because if you up and leave me, that's not faith. That is, I don't trust it because if you do yada yada, and I'm sitting here looking stupid because I got Russell on my neck. So that's where, and we got so wrapped up in that. It's almost as like I got so invested in that conversation, and Brandy was like, "Oh, you trying to convince me that I don't love you?" Like, I'm like, that's not what I'm just talking about this idea. But that's an example of how we just look at stuff completely different. Yeah. She's like, I just wouldn't get nobody's tattoo on them. I'm like, yeah, me either. But what about this deep thought?
So I don't think we ever have those moments where it's like, where we get to give each other the I told you so look, because on stuff like that, like we either gonna compromise or one of us is just going to say, yes, you're right, let's go with what you said.
And Elena, we don't gotta look at the world in the same way. That's the beauty in dynamic, right? Like,
that's why you don't want to marry yourself. Like,
I would be if I, I'm just saying.
No, it would be horrible. Y'all would never get nothing done. Y'all gonna be late to everything. No.
Who gonna complain?
No. The people that you work for, the people that you're servicing.
They all right.
Y'all gonna have a bunch of ideas with no action. You need to be the kite, but you need a string. You need that. You need that.
See, we look at the world differently. I disagree.
Oh, you don't need that?
Huh?
You don't need that? You don't need somebody to ground you.
I have God to ground me.
He's being so dramatic.
Long as I got King Jesus, long as I got
about
King
how
Jesus.
When I came into his life and helped him do so many great things, but now he's saying he don't need that. Robinson says, embrace those different views. Literally is likely what makes y'all love each other. It is.
I'm being facetious. Like, honestly, like the balance is in the difference, right? Like, we're not weighing down one side of the scale. Like, we are different thinkers because we need to look at a subject from two different sides, right? Like, the key is navigating that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you look at it like this and look at it like that. Now, how do we look at this in a way that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, the podcast is a great example of that because we talked about, like, when we started, we had two different ideas of, like, how we would get to be here in front of y'all. What was the planning looking like? What would the show look like? And really what it came to be was like a melding of both of our two styles that really make this successful. If I was as upbeat and as energetic as Russell all the time, we would be super annoying on a podcast with each other. Like, yes, we would. Yes,
it'd be a great show.
It's the dynamic in our personalities that make us so great. Jay says I
love how you keep saying that two of me is annoying. What
two of me's would be horrible too. What Trust me, it would be horrible. It'd be a bunch of two people who are very headstrong, who are very bossy, and can't decide which way to go. Because if it's gonna be your way and it's gonna be my way, then we just gonna go two different ways instead of us meeting in the middle.
It's
Nobody
giving
gonna want to meet in
self-awareness.
the
Come
middle.
here.
I know what my flaws are. Let's be clear. Let's be clear.
Right.
There'd be a bunch of attitude and a bunch of fighting up in this house if it was two of me. I already know.
Oh my God.
Terica had a comment before too that I mean, she says, "I'm a lover and not a fighter. I will be like, now come sleep in the bed.
Come sleep
and
your
rub
A
my
in the
feet."
bed and rub feet.
That's Russell. Where was that? Jay says, "We are analytical thinkers and fact checkers, so we have to make it make sense, or it's an error message in our brain, and we have to fix it."
Okay.
Go ahead.
Terica says, I tattooed my first two kids' dad's name on me, and when we broke up, I just said it was my son's name because he's a junior. See, you can't go wrong there. There you go. There you go. That's easy. Easy fix.
Tyra said, "I'm with you, Russ, on that, Russell."
Yeah.
Shalonda says, "Agree to disagree. There is nothing wrong with different views. Makes it interesting."
Yeah, we can agree that we disagree.
Yes.
That was one of the nuggets we picked up from our marriage. Was it retreat? Was it?
Yeah.
Marriage conference. Yeah.
We disagree, and we agree on the fact that we disagree.
And I'm just learning to let that be okay. But I'm hardwired to convey, like, this is my gift and my curse. I have to convey thought, right? Like, that's what I'm hardwired to do. If I'm speaking, if I'm preaching, if I'm on a 1:30 video, I have a 1:30 to convey this thought and make sure that when you hear it, you understand it. When I can't do that, I'm learning it's not a failure, but it feels like a failure. And I'm learning that, like, man, I got to try a little more. I got to talk a little more. Okay, what can I say to make her see it my way? It's like, oh, you're going too far. Okay, you're being a jerk now, Russ. Okay, shut up.
Jay says, that's my other question. B, as a child whose voice was held with no value, how were you able to find that level of comfort to speak publicly on this platform and not clam? And Russ, how were you able to support her and make her comfortable to do this? You want to go first? How did you support me and make me comfortable to do this?
Honestly, like, the first couple times were just kind of like, I just did it. I can sense she was uncomfortable, but like early on when we were going live or doing like food reviews, or like we did like this new Coca-Cola flavor review, she was willing, you know what I mean? But it was with a little bit of, come on, let's just do it, you know what I mean? But what I loved about her is, like, she was showing me parts of her and making it clear. And I could see from her dynamics with other people, it's like, oh, they don't get this version of you. They don't see this side of you. They don't see that you're funny. Like, and most people, like, who have a selfish mindset towards the people they love, they want to hog it. You know, if I see you being, of course, there are some things that are sacred between us. But, like, I wanted people to see Brandy. I wanted people to see, like, the things I loved about her, and the fact that we connected on this level of, like, speaking, the conversation we were having. I'm like, yo, people need to hear this, right? So I knew that the more people saw it, the more she would be affirmed in the thing that I think is just maybe not wired, or not, I don't want to say wiring, but like maybe something that she never leaned into before. But it was that, just kind of like pushing her out there, sometimes involuntarily. And the other part of just affirming her, like, you know, there were early times, like, especially like if we had a thought of, like, she had a thought on a scripture, something like, yo, how would you say this? Or like, if you had to preach this, how would you do this? Or, you know what I mean? And just like, oh, I love that. You know what I mean? Like, affirming the gift that she had for speaking. And y'all know now, like, for those of y'all that have been rocking with her since day one, like, she has a gift to speak, and she speaks with a conviction and a passion that not everybody can do. I know it looks easy because it seems like we're just talking. This is a skill set. Like, listen to podcasts. There's a lot of trash ones. So for her to be able to sit down for an hour and talk about one subject, all we talk about is relationships, passionately, and her perspective passionately, to a point where people are literally writing into her. Like, there's been people literally write her and just be like, yo, can I ask you this? What do you think about this? And I wanted people to see that. I wanted people to see that about her.
I can't remember if it was the past or present episode or the communication one, but Russell said something that I think is a perfect depiction of this. And he said that God uses people to develop certain aspects of who you are. Like you're in certain relationships, you're around certain people, you have certain parents for the sole purpose of them to pull out something that is in you. So having my background and feeling like my voice was not wanted, didn't have value, that I didn't add anything to a conversation, that's something that the Lord knew he had to get out of me. And it was different people who were placed in my life in this specific season that helped pull that out of me. So when we first started getting together was also when not only he wanted to be on live and had a camera in my face 24/7, but I was being asked to pray. I was being asked to speak at events. And I was like, I cannot do this. Like, this is not me. I don't want to do that. And my first lady at the time, one of my great friends, and him were people who were just like, look, nobody's asking you to do this just because a thought that they had in their mind. Like, it's a specific purpose in which people are coming to you. There are 50,000 people that they could ask, but they're asking you. So obviously that means that something that you have to say has value. So that helped. Affirming me helped a ton. And the things that were a part of me that I felt embarrassed about, that I felt ashamed about, that I was just scared of, being vulnerable enough to let at least one person see that and then be able to speak to that vulnerability and just be like, nah, like, you're capable, like, you can do this, and I'm gonna be there cheering you on the whole time. Like, so I mean, it was a little bit of Russ, a lot of bit of God, and just people who really believe that, you know, I was able to do it. And having people believe in you when you don't believe in yourself, like, people downplay that, but that is huge. If somebody can see something in you that you don't see in yourself and speak to that thing and call it forth out of you, that's the people that you don't never want to let go of. And so when he started to do that for me, I was like, that's my husband. Okay, when you gonna marry me? Like, come on, when you going? I was literally asking him, like, is you about to ask me? Is you about to propose? When we get married?
So,
like,
yo, chill. Like,
you about to do it right now? Where we going? You taking me to go propose? Like, it was it. Once I knew that, like, there were seeds in me that could grow and produce a harvest that other people could live off of and thrive from, and he watered those seeds. Psh, all right, you ain't never going nowhere.
we out here. We out here, period. Candace says it's either fact or an opinion. We can agree to disagree on an opinion, but if I'm telling you a fact and you don't want to listen, I'm not going to fight with you about it. I'll wait. And when you find out I was right, I'm just going to look at you and maybe sarcastically say, oh, really?
Now, we do have that about certain stuff, though. What was the thing just a few days ago where you was arguing me down and I was trying to tell you and you Googled it?
But I remember being like, that's right. You got it. I was wrong in grand fashion.
Because I told y'all, Russell, he'd be loud and wrong. He'd be like, no, you wrong.
That was growth, too, because I used to argue with Google, too. No, because hold on, wait, what website is that? Because is it an official? Oh, if it's Wikipedia, anybody could write on that. Like, I got better. Now when I'm wrong, I could just say it.
Read the comments.
Candace says, my sis is the bestest. I love the way she is able to articulate her thoughts in such a meaningful way. A true blessing. LaKendria Davis. Brandy, how did you switch from the healed single to finding out that version of you did not work in your relationship?
How did I switch from the healed single to finding out that version of me didn't exist?
Did not work in your relationship.
Yeah. So God smacked me upside the head with it and put me in a relationship with somebody that was like, that don't work. You can't be that person with me. But not for real. It was, like I said, when I got into the relationship, I really thought that I was good, that I didn't have to change at all. But when I tried to take that person into a relationship, we kept butting heads, and he would feel certain things that I never wanted him to feel for me. Like, well, tell me what made you feel like that. And then he'd be like, well, you don't, or you did. And so I had to realize that, okay, that stuff has to change in order for us to be in a successful relationship. Like, I can't be the lion we gonna be two lions in this relationship, and we gonna try to eat each other up. We're gonna try to devour each other with our personalities and with our need to be right. And it just wasn't worth it for me. So the things that God had put in me and instilled in me in my single season that helped me build a business for myself and for my children, that allowed me to go out and do certain things that I never thought I was capable of doing, and that brought me out of a depression that I was in. Those things were really good when I was single and by myself. But that independent person that he developed for that season, I now had to bring into a relationship with somebody. And I just had to realize through trial and error, like, these personality traits were good when you were single and you were doing stuff by yourself. But now you have somebody who wants to collaborate with you, who wants to build a life with you. And I had to let that girl go. And I didn't, at first I mourned her. Like, I felt like I was going to lose something. I thought I was going to go back to the version of myself that was codependent on the man and couldn't think or act for myself, because that's how I was in my previous relationship. I ran the house, but when it came to anything outside the house, I was like, what should we do? I was looking to him to direct my whole entire life. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the person that I had become. And I really felt like God brought me out of that situation to show me who I could be. And I learned to like the person that I could be when I was single. But she just wasn't the person that I needed to be in a relationship. And I understood that. And I was ready to let her go if it meant that I was going to have a great relationship with the person that I was with. So,
and can I say something? It's possible. A lot of times people equate them having to change in a relationship with there being something wrong with them.
Right.
You could have a trait that literally serves you and has served you throughout the course of your life. But as humans, we got to be able to pivot. We got to be able to look at our current surroundings and be like, you know what? That don't work here. Mm-hmm. I have been a clown my whole life. I've joked and it served me well. Like, my whole social life was built on my humor. When I was the goofy kid with the thick glasses and crooked teeth, the only reason I got to sit with the cool kids and kick it with Brandy and Shakia and Tedrick is because, he funny though. Like, had hand-me-down clothes. I was really a nerd. So I put stock in that. I had to look at, this is around like 2020, 2019. My life was changing. And I'm still trying to force an older version into who I am in 2020. I'm still making funny videos. I'm trying to be the class clown at 37 years old. Trying to say, okay, how can I make this work in my life? Because this is who I am, right? So clearly this got to be my gift, my calling, my purpose. No. Russ, do a video talking about relationships or God or emotional health. I had to pivot, and I've seen the fruit from doing that. So when you go into a relationship with somebody, there might be something that serves you your entire life. But this person that you love, this person you care about, it don't work with them. They serve you in every way. They love you in a way you've always dreamt of. But this don't work. Are you more attached to this idea of who you are? Or are you attached to the idea of being malleable and being able to pivot and be like, you know what? I like talking back. My smart mouth has blessed me in every way throughout this point. But in this season of my life, I'm learning to hold my tongue. I like being a fighter. Or I like being docile. And I like being quiet. I like playing the background. But now you're in a relationship with a woman that needs you to be the leader. I need you to not be the docile background beta male. I need you to step into a room like you own it. Bring it forth. You got to be able to pivot. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was such a good question, and I appreciate you for asking that. And I just want to not devalue the fact that all of this comes from having a relationship with the Holy Spirit, where those nudges and those quiet whispers that be like, yeah, nah, that's not gonna work. Because if I'm being honest, Russell just telling me that he ain't like it the way I talk to him, that wasn't enough to make me want to change. It was like having that relationship with God and taking my time to hear from him and being like, yo, that gotta die. Not just for him. It is largely for him, but it's also for the places that I'm going to take you. And you being able to you being ready to fire back and talk crazy to people who are in a room to help you. Like, it's not gonna work. So start here.
You're preaching.
Start in this relationship. And when you conquer that, I'm going to push you out there in the world, because now I know you're ready. Now I know you're ready to submit those things that you really believe make you who you are, but still ready to submit that to me. And I am a testimony of that. The places and the people that God have placed us in front of and me in front of, and I can now sit and have an intelligent conversation with someone without cursing, without rolling my neck, without rolling my eyes, and without snapping back. It's because he told me to kill it here first.
Yo, I'm about to throw something at you.
Go ahead.
No, but this is good, and I promise you, we're about to read comments and we're about to wrap up, because y'all know, but this is good. This is such a good point, and I don't want to let this leave without addressing this. How God will bring people into your life to introduce you to a you that you haven't even met yet.
Amen.
It is so important, because when we met and we started engaging and we started noticing a change in who we were, we didn't know there was a podcast coming. When I was pushing her to go live, it's just because I liked her and I wanted y'all to see what I liked. Hey, y'all, look at Brandy.
She cute.
Hey, look at Brandy. Look at her. Yo, is she funny? Like, I just wanted to share, but God knew. Like, we saw up the street. He saw around the corner. He's like, yeah, I don't know. I got something for you. So you got to develop this thing. Christopher Robinson, who's on this chat right now, when I met him, I thought he was just a funny dude. I was like, I'm so glad I get to work with this dude because he seems really cool. But talking to him, listening to his therapeutic mind, he's introducing me to concepts. When I'm going through my divorce, we're sitting talking. He's introducing me to looking at the complete picture. He's like, but look at your behavior. Look at this. Look at that. I didn't know that years down the line, God was going to give me a platform where I'm talking about emotional health. And when I'm sitting on a podcast and I got to talk about dynamics and relationships, but he introduced me to somebody who was introducing me to a me that I didn't know yet. I'll never forget that day when he told me, hey, yo, you got a gift to talk. And I said, what? He was like, yeah, man, you're really good at like therapeutic thinking. I was just talking to a kid. We worked at a juvenile detention. I was just trying to give good advice. But he stopped me and was like, wow, man, I'm really impressed with you. He introduced me to a me I had not met yet. And God works like that. He gives us interdependence so that when he brings people into our life strategically, they will cause you to see a version of you that you haven't met yet. And it's for a reason, because there's about to be a switch. There's about to be a new season. And I know you don't know why, but I'm going to use this person to bring some stuff out of you. Even the relationships that don't make no sense. Even the person that broke up with you, you like, I wasted 5 years of my life, but you don't know. Some things were birthed in that season. A respect for yourself. Like, I'll never let nobody talk to me like that again.
Period.
And you don't know that you're going to need that same fire and grit, because he's going to put you in the boardroom with some people that think they could. Everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You were spitting. That's good.
And I think it's just important to mention that the people that you are involved in, it can have a reverse. That's why you have to be so connected and listen when the Holy Spirit say run from people you trying to hold on to that want to put something in you that was never meant to be there.
Yeah.
Because then you will fight for years trying to get rid of it. Trust me, I have been there.
That's real.
You'll be like, yo, I got this little insecurity in me and I don't know where it came from. Whole time it's from 6 boyfriends ago who used to tell you wasn't nothing, who used to tell you ugly, who you used to think you was fly, and he'd be like, nah, go take that off. That don't look right. It's interdependency and the intermixing of the spirits that brings forth a soul tie that people talk about. Like those things that attach to you that you don't even know are there, that you don't even know are being planted in you just because of who you chose to be in relationship with. Like that's why that choice is so important, that you cannot leave God out of the mix. Go ahead, you can read some comments.
Okay. Tarek says, am I saying your name? Is it Tarika or Tarika? I'm gonna say Tarika. If I'm right, give me a thumbs up. But she said, y'all podcast be really blessing me for real. Coming from someone that's on their second divorce, not saying that it's my fault, but I want to make better decisions when it comes to love. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
You. Love and appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Sherelle says, I agree. God has been strategically placing me in front of people who are pulling the idea of speaking to new people out of me. Laugh out loud, especially in the church. I'm telling you. Robinson says, facts. People seeing good in you that you don't see is lit. One of the reasons having different views is an actual benefit and does not have to be a conflict. 100%. LaKendria says, yes, me and my boyfriend relationship has been blessed by this podcast. Thank you so much. That's everything.
That's all we ask for. Before you go there, there's a comment. I just want to read it from Chloe. It's about the previous conversation, but because she's on YouTube, I think she might have got missed. This. It says, I think it's okay to be friends as long as it's platonic. If there are blurred lines, there's a new relationship, then it's a no.
That's real. Candace says, break me, shape me, mold me, however you see fit, Lord. I don't know the way you said that. Made me think it was a song.
It is a song.
I knew that. See, just the lyrics. I said, that got to be a song. Tyra was replying to LaKendria about the healed version of you and having to pivot. She just said that was a really good question. I agree. Stacy says, I can't wait to meet myself, the better me, the spiritual me.
And she in there. Start speaking to her now.
Period.
Like, you don't always have to have somebody else bring it out of you. Like, speaking on to yourself. Start talking to her now. Like,
that part.
Hey, you gonna have to come forth. I say it all the time. Look, spirit man, my flesh is weak, so I need you to step up. Like, I need you to be stronger. I need you to be able to deny yourself. So come on, start speaking to her. If you want to meet her now, start introducing yourself.
That's real.
Don't wait for nobody else to do it for you.
Sherelle says, the Holy Spirit knocks my head between the washer and dryer behind these men. Can I tell you, I live for Sherelle's comments because they be taking me out.
But it be real though.
Why the washer and dryer?
Like so, back there.
So descriptive.
It's like that roller coaster we was on at CJ Barrymore.
It's aggressive. You want to read the next one?
Yeah.
Jay?
So Jay says, it's such a beautiful thing to be able to elevate to a new level. It shows growth, wisdom, and maturity. I've went from being the funny kid, the drummer, the fighter, the drill sergeant, and I'm learning this new person and figuring out who Jalen is and learning to love this new person. This is such a different person than who I was, and I'm no longer maneuvering myself for survival. I don't have to fight to be in the room anymore. Period.
Stacy says, I'm crying because I'm trying so hard to break minds. Wow.
Yeah, those are, listen, a soul tie it's deep. It runs deep. I totally understand. We'll be praying for you, Stacy.
That part. Tyra says, I haven't been tuning in lately, but tonight I caught y'all. And sweet baby Jesus, I needed to hear this podcast tonight.
Amen. He
so
does everything
timely.
for a reason.
That part. We glad you're here too.
No mistakes.
That part.
Shanika says, I really appreciate y'all so much. It's just different views from both of you that has helped me.
That's so
Thank
dope.
you. Okay, y'all
Thank
stop
you.
being so nice to us.
What is going on? Did y'all on a group chat or something being like?
We should tell them how we feel tonight. We love y'all too, for real.
This this is what we said when we sat down and we were like, what makes our podcast different than everyone who got a podcast? Like, what does our brand stand for? Because this is like Brandy's influence, right? You know, she in these boardrooms, she's like, we need to have a brand meeting, talk about brand identity. I'm like, girl, what did you talk about? We finna cut these mics on. We gonna joke, laugh. But I'm so glad that she did, because what we really wanted was for us, because when we started the podcast, we wasn't married yet. We had been dating, year and a half, year, something like that. So it ain't like we got a wealth of knowledge. We fresh off a divorce. So what it was let's build community and let's just live in front of people. as we figure it out, let's talk about it. Y'all know, if y'all been following, there's been plenty of episodes where the whole episode was just us going back and forth. We ain't land on no subject. I think this, you think this. We didn't.
Love too.
All right,
I bet
y'all.
you they can hear us now.
Can y'all hear us now? I bet they can't.
I bet you they can, because now the thing is back on. Yep. See?
Can y'all hear us now?
Yes.
It was the charger?
No, for how somehow this got muted. I don't know if it was because my hand was here or something, but the Rode thing got muted.
Daniel Jones said still can't hear y'all.
Robinson said back. We can, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
All right. Lord, jeez. See how the enemy be coming in?
Just trying to ruin it. We were talking about how good it was. But anyways, they said it cut off after you. So basically what I was saying is that there were a lot of well-intentioned people who came to us at the beginning and was like, I know y'all can do this, but certain stuff y'all should stay away from. Y'all shouldn't talk about this, or don't share too much about that. But like, we really believe that this podcast ended up being called What They Never Told Us for a reason, because for whatever reason, there's just stuff that people think you should keep quiet and not share. But from this platform, we've learned that there are so many people going through the exact same thing. And if we don't talk about how we got through it and how we worked through it, or how we're working through it, then those people might stay stuck until they figure it out for themselves. We share the things that we're going through so that if somebody is in the same position and might be feeling that, y'all don't got to suffer the way we suffered. So when we talk about divorce, when we talk about sex, when we talk about baby daddies and baby mamas, like, it's not for the purpose or the intention to just share for the sake of sharing. Like, nah, this, all y'all talking about is how we help y'all and how we encourage y'all. That is the purpose of this platform. So that's why we do it. So we love y'all and we thank y'all for that.
Yeah. There's a scripture in Revelations 12, somewhere in there. But it says they overcame by the testimony, right? Where it talks about how powerful it is for people to just know what you've been through and the stuff that God has brought you through. And like, that's exactly what she was touching on right there. Like, there's so much power in your story, and the conversation is necessary for people to grow, right? Like, that's the silver lining behind us coming out here telling our business. Because it's been a couple of times I had family members go to me, now, you know, you shouldn't have said that, or why you telling my business, or stuff like that. But like, that vulnerability of just what you're going through, what you've been through, and y'all bring that. That's why I love the lives. The kickbacks are really becoming like my favorite, because y'all bring that. Like, every week y'all come like, this is what I'm going through. This is what, even joking, God be keep putting my head through the washer and dryer about these men. Or Stacy just always come here being vulnerable, like sharing the gift of what you're going through. And the community benefits from that. Like all these people, I'm telling y'all, like on the live, it might be like 20 people on a good night.
Mm-hmm.
But people listen to this all over the world. All over the world. They hear your comments. They hear your feedback. They hear what you're going through. And there's somebody over in Uganda, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines, like, yo, I'm going through that. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm dealing with. There's somebody, I don't know, everywhere that we be listened to and rated and all that, who's hearing what y'all going through, and they're blessed by it because they realize I'm not alone. Mm-hmm. And if Terica can go through 2 divorces and still be looking up like, no, I'm a body this next one. Like, come on, sis. Like I'm not done in love. Like I'm learning and I'm growing, I'm evolving, and I'm gonna make better choices. And somebody's like, I feel that. Me too. Because I was about to give up after one. I'm telling you, for real.
Sherelle says, it's so true. I've never heard Christians talk about fancy swings, and I'm here for it. Christianity isn't as boring as past generations tried to make it.
Can we pause there before you read the rest of the comments? I'm so glad you said that, because that's one thing that worried me, like how open we are about talking about this stuff. And if y'all know anything about church folk, we're edgy.
There's probably some church folks that don't like it, but so what?
Yeah. And this, like we said, we don't shy away from talking about God. We love God. It's hard to find an episode where he ain't mentioned. But this is a podcast run by Christians. It's not a Christian podcast, right? Like we don't just talk about, God, but because we're Christians and we're serious about that, it influences our view on certain things, right? But there are so many people, and this is me raising my hand because this was me, who have suffered from how church has taught and referenced sex. Mm-hmm. All my life, it was evil. Right? All my life, don't do it. It's evil. You're going to go to hell, yada, yada, yada. But nobody talks about it's supposed to be beautiful when you get married. The only viewpoint I've had since I was a child is don't do it. Stay pure. Stay pure. Stay pure. So now that I'm married and have sex, I'm not pure no more. I have to change my viewpoint on it. I still feel guilty. Now I have this viewpoint and view of sex where it's been negative all of my life, and now I'm supposed to just be free in it. Right?
Don't work that way.
Man, there are so many Christians right now who love God but are frustrated in the marital bed because she can't go down on her husband without feeling like she nasty. Yeah. Feeling like she's, I'm unholy now. No, the marital bed is undefiled, and God created all of them body parts that feel so good. So every single nerve ending down there was strategically placed. If it wasn't supposed to feel good, it wouldn't feel good.
Amen.
There's some animals who don't get no pleasure from it. They just feel an urge to procreate. But he was so kind and so wonderful and so good that he gave us all these nerve endings that said, hey, yo, when you put this to this, hey, yo, it's good. It's going to be beautiful. So like that, it's so strategic. And I'm so glad she brought me out of this, because I remember we had this conversation. When our relationship first started, I just started trying to like get back into my saved bag. I was out here in the wilderness. And if I'm being honest, most of what I learned about sex was in the wilderness. Yeah, that's where I got my experience from. So in my mind, when I started trying to get serious about God again, I'm like, how can I do this and still, you know what I mean? I got to change the way I do sex because I've been nasty out here. You know what I mean? She's like, nah, what?
No, you don't.
It's supposed to be lit. What do you mean?
Keep that. You just got to hold on to it for a second. But as soon as we say I do, let it out the bag.
Good. And she was blessed because she had teaching and pastors who were like doing whole Bible studies on sex. Mm-hmm. It's not evil. Mm-hmm. And if you come to our podcast, we're going to give you the real. It's lit over here.
We hope that you're doing it in the sanctity of marriage. We know a lot of people aren't. But the perspective that we talk about is the hopes that you'll get there one day and you'll unlock all them doors.
And when you do, it's supposed to be bomb.
You're supposed to cry.
You supposed to cry. You supposed to get swings and things. Like, right? Like it's supposed to be lit over here. Man.
This is the time. Like this is a space where you can do everything that you wanted to do and some stuff that you thought you never would do.
We got God in the bed. I mean, that's a weird thought.
It ain't. It be spiritual in there.
Man, it do.
It be horny and holy in there. No, do it not. Do it not. It be holy and horny in there. Period. It be a time. What y'all thought?
You got it, sis. You win. That's it.
Okay, y'all. But this is a very long live. We're at 1 hour and 30. But in the episode, I was trying to give this example when we was talking about the fixers in the relationship and wasting your energy trying to communicate with people who are not open and don't want to hear you. And if you want to look at it, I did say it was from the Bible. It is. It's called the Parable of the Sower, and it is from Matthew 13. 1 through 30, I think. So if anybody was interested in that, I know y'all trying to get back in y'all Jesus bag. So go ahead and read that out about just who to cast your pearls on. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody ain't meant for you, and everybody ain't meant for you to speak life into either.
That part. Sherelle says, y'all literally got me past the worst breakup of my life. Y'all gave me hope that God will bring love to my life. I just had to be delivered from the streets. Hence the washer and dryer. I know that's right. Stacey says we in the new generation. Yes, we are. There's so many people right now like, yo, I love God, but I can't see my life without sex, or I can't.
Yeah. Like
so many people be like, dang, like, so can I cuss when I have sex? Like, cause that's how I used to, like, these are real life questions and thoughts that people have. It'd be like, we should talk about this. We should have conversation.
We have to talk about that on the sex episode.
We need a Christian sex therapist. We gotta pray. God send them. Send them. Shalon says, come on.
Said that made me, what were you just talking about? I don't know.
Sherelle?
Whatever.
The wash and dry?
Yeah, no, I don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
All
right, y'all. This has been the longest episode we've ever had in life. It's 1 hour and 30.
And this year, come on, talk about some. Hey, family, girl, we done.
Bye. Get out. Where you been? We done had technical difficulties. You probably the reason, because you ain't been here. Stuff ain't been acting right. We done had 4 lives. We done went live 4 times.
For real, no exaggeration.
No exaggeration, but it was so worth it, and now I see why. I do believe that there was just some technical stuff, but you know, when you like get resistance like this, is because you finna like speak life, and there's gonna be some seeds planted. So I'm glad we persevered. If it would have cut off one more time, I would say, you know what?
Yeah, Russell was frustrated when
I'm
we first
tired.
started.
I'm tired. I'm finna go to sleep.
She had a good excuse. She said she had a game. I hope y'all won. So Shanika says it's been a great live. Sierra says, oh, I love y'all. We love you too. Terika says good night. It's always fire with the mishaps. That's true.
It'll be fire with the mishaps. That part.
All right, y'all. Yeah. We out of here.
We love y'all.
We love.